Hi, welcome everyone. We're just going to wait a little bit for more people to join. Monica here today is going to be showing us a pre-drawing and also how to start a brow, how to use the measuring tape. So this is going to be very helpful for a lot of people from what I gathered from your messages. I, by the way, have a bit of cold, so I have to apologize for that. But Monica will be commenting on a lot of what she is doing. So just waiting a little bit more to gather a bit more viewers, because I'd like you not to miss out on quite a few important key points, which of course I'll be repeating. Feel free to ask questions throughout. So once again, Monica will be doing today how to use measuring tape, how to pre-draw, so how to achieve that good pre-drawing, and how to do the start of the brow, because I found from your messages that quite a few of you are struggling with these parts. So as you can see here, we have a fake skin prepared and ready for you. We have one of our new pencils that will be available in the online shops shortly. Just little bits and bobs like the pigments and the blade and the ring, and of course Monica is ready with her gloves.
Okay, so do I have everything? Maybe.
You tell me.
Well, we'll soon find out.
As soon as you start, you'll know whether you're missing anything.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens.
So hi to everybody that has just joined us. Just waiting a couple of more minutes for more viewers to join, because I know it takes time for everybody to just notice that there's a live video on, and this one's really exciting today. This one's about pre-drawing.
A lot of people have been asking for, so I think it's I just lost my sharpener.
Exactly, a lot of people have been asking. A lot of people have been also worrying about how to do the start of the brow, how to start it nicely. And today Monica is going to give us some tips and tricks on how to achieve that great pre-drawing, how to use the measuring tape, how to do the start of the brow. So just give us a couple more seconds literally to just share this into a few places. And meanwhile, I hope you have your sound on. You can hear us because you don't want to miss out on anything.
Are we good to go?
Okay, just one more second. Let me just post it into... Where is it? Group. Okay. Well, Monica, if you're ready, why don't you start? Because obviously we have to start at some point.
Right. I know quite a lot of you have been asking how to use the pencil. You see it being used in a video, but you're not quite sure how to go ahead and whether you need to use a sharpener or not. The pencil is really made of the outer casing of pure paper. So I don't know if you can see all these ridges. These are basically bases and like layers of more paper coating. It comes with a string attached on the side. We pull on that to break the casing, about 1 centimeter maybe, and then we get the case off. Yes, I have a little bit out. I need a little bit more.
So how much are you trying to get out?
About 1 centimeter.
Oh, 1 centimeter, sorry.
Yeah, so that's 1 centimeter.
Okay, so this is about what we're looking for, great.
Okay.
So we just basically pull on the string and expose the pencil.
Completely. Quite easy. I trim the thread so it doesn't get in my way too much. Okay, so then I secure the pencil, the soft part on my finger, and with the razor I shave layers of it. So feel free to just go slowly, very thin layers off. Okay, once you removed
I'll about half of it, I guess.
Yeah. Then you tilt it to the other side. So now you secure the layer that you were shaving off on your finger and go from the other side.
Okay, so I guess obviously you're trying to achieve a sharp tip.
Yes, but not just a tip, almost like a sharp line. It's not going to be like a standard pencil, like just a peak.
Okay, so obviously standard pencil just has a sharp, whereas here you have quite a bit of that sharp point.
So we're really shaving not all around, but just two sides. So doing a little bit more here. Okay, I just broke it. You need to be very...
And that happens.
That happens, yes. If
so
you want to go too much.
You do, I think this is great.
So you can try to do it again.
More, right? If you broke too much.
If you broke too much, you can unravel a little bit more. Yes, the idea here is that you have quite a sharp pencil to be able to draw defined lines quite thin.
And then you just test whether it's good?
Yes, you test whether it's good. You can look at it and see if any little other parts need to come off.
Great, so just shaving the pencil.
So, once the pencil is ready, you need to remember that there's also another thing you need, the measuring tape. Yes, because sharp pencil is only one thing that you need in order to create a good pre-drawing. But the measuring tape will help you get the eyebrows more symmetrical. Yes, and you will be able to achieve it much faster than just judging by your, well, just looking with your eyes. Alright, so I would peel off the sticker from its base. That's probably the most tricky part for me. Okay, so I take the clear sticker off, and what actually normally happens on a client, with your pencil, you will draw a line from the client's nose, from the bridge of the nose, straight line, a little bit up across the forehead. And this would be your starting point, so that would be your 0. Yes, so that way the line is in the center of a client's face, in the center of their forehead, and then the 0, your starting point, is being stuck on top of it. Make sure not to tilt your measuring tape. It needs to be quite straight. Okay, so if your line is drawn well, then it's just easy because you follow that with the 0.
Okay, lovely. So just repeat that. Obviously, you'll judge the very middle of your client's forehead. So that obviously you'll do by using their nose. And just mark the middle, and then the measuring tape, the 0 is going right in the middle of your line. Right, looking lovely.
So make sure the sticker is sort of same distance from the eyes. If your line is drawn straight, then it will be okay, but you can see sometimes perhaps it's tilted too much. Then you unstick it and stick it back on. It's really sticky, so you don't have to worry about that. You'll also notice that on your measuring tape you have almost like a standard pinpoints that will help you design the standard eyebrow maybe.
How do we see that?
The green points. So this will be somewhere where your eyebrow starts.
Yeah.
Yes, the very beginning. Around this point, which is 4.5, this is where your eyebrow will elevate. So you have your arch. Then straight after that point it will start coming down. You don't need to stick to it too closely, as for some people perhaps this point can be moved a little bit, so maybe it can go half either way from here or either way from here. And of course some eyebrows maybe will be longer than 7. Yes, you can see that your sticker ends at 8. Eyebrows shouldn't really go further than that unless you have a giant head.
Okay, so I like this. Obviously, you have the green points that help you, but at the same time, you are the human, and you will be judging according to the client's face and the actual eyebrows.
So what I see sometimes happening in a class, that people start drawing here. So they start to draw the beginning, basically where the sticker starts, and then they can't draw over the...
Yeah, obviously, because they're now...
They keep on sort of drawing over the sticker. So don't start so high. You need to come a little bit lower Perhaps that's why your line is longer. It starts from a nose and goes up. So you need to come a little bit lower. Also, the natural eyebrow should be a little bit of your guide. So you try to preserve as much of the natural hair as possible, of course, if there are any present.
Okay, but so how do you decide where to start? What is the good way to judge the starting point?
Well, I like to start as a standard somewhere here between 1 I like to start them there.
Okay. Sorry, we just broke off there for a second. Okay, yeah, so you're looking to start at 1 to 1.5.
Yeah, so if natural eyebrows start really close to 1, I can just follow that. If they start earlier at 1, I would shave a little bit of the hair because I believe at least this is the minimum distance you should have between your eyebrows.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's 2 centimeters,
2
because
centimeters.
1 here and 1 here. If people have eyebrows starting at maybe 2.5 or 3, they really are too far away from each other. So then I would bring them back to 1.5. This is really, eyebrows shouldn't start much further than this point, because it feels like then you have a really big forehead and they're too distant.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start our basic eyebrow here at 1.5.
Yeah, and of course right now we're just working on plain palette, so it's a bit hard to judge because we have nothing to
There is nothing to, yes. Okay.
Yes, so we have to decide a starting point. And as Monica said, 1.5 is really the typical starting point. And for that reason, this is where we're going to be working. And you have a hi from Soy there.
Hi! Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free, fire away. We'll be happy to answer.
Where are you from, Soire? I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Okay, let's continue. So 1.5 is the correct point for starting, really.
Yeah, so I would start from here and sort of try to draw even lines. Even if clients have really funny and plenty of different angles to the eyebrow, this is what we try to do. Bear in mind where your arch will be, and this is the bottom of the brow. So continue with straight strokes until you reach the highest point of the lower arch. Yes, and then you start tilting to the side and finally going down.
Okay, so I guess here you're sort of imagining as if you had hair, right?
Yes, and the important part here is if you draw a straight line, so a line that will be parallel to the base of your sticker, and you bring it down, your tail should never go lower than the base of the brow. Yeah, so you shouldn't have a situation where the tail is going much lower. It can be a little bit higher, or they can be on the same level.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay, so I guess it's sort of like easy for you to draw the bottom line because it's easy for you because obviously you have so much experience. But what if somebody's just struggling to find that line? How do you?
So if they find the base, if they think that this is where the eyebrow should start and that's the base, they can really make sure that they draw a horizontal line here and just get some reference lines.
Exactly, I like those reference lines. I also like to sort of reference my arch and maybe the starting point and the end, and that way I sort of know where I'll go
this
up.
helps a lot of people. So maybe they can do points here, points there. It just becomes a little bit more visible. Yes, and then finally, okay, the end is now here at the end of my sticker. You can draw these lines really down if that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for me, but yes, this is what we do. So make sure your lines are nice and defined.
Okay, so you generally start from the bottom line. Right, lovely.
And I don't like very straight, boxy eyebrows.
Yeah.
So I leave the beginning normally either undefined and let the client decide later, or what's usually more suitable for a lot of people is just a rounded and slightly slanted beginning.
Yeah, and sometimes I notice that even working on clients, you can leave the front line undefined, like you
Completely.
you don't draw it at all, because sometimes I think when people see that sort of boxed front,
they just feel a little bit worried. So
they
you could
get scared,
leave,
yeah, because it looks so intense.
so you could leave this area, because this area normally it will be a little bit lighter anyway, a little bit less full than, let's say, in the middle of the brow. So you could just leave it and decide later, yes, once the client has a rough idea about what's going to happen. So
Right, but how do you decide how wide the eyebrow will be? How do you decide that?
well, I try to, I don't know if I can draw anything here. If the natural eyebrow, let's say, starts growing here,
Right,
I have some hairs, yes, that grow here.
right.
And then they continue to go here. I'll keep that thickness, and let's say the eyebrows then are missing here, so I don't have anything here. I have like a gap.
Which often happens. We get these like comb eyebrows.
Yeah, so let's say client has hair here, nothing much there, and then something starts to happen here again, but let's say it's not
Finishing
yes,
nearly as soon as
so it's
done.
short.
Okay, yeah, this I see this a lot.
So it sort of starts nice and wide, but then it becomes really skinny quite quickly, and it's too short. How do I know it's too short? Because if I have my nose and then the outer corner of the eye, and I draw a straight line from there, that's where the eyebrow should end.
So you're
So,
using the golden
outside
ratio.
of the nose, yes, corner of the eye,
Right.
end. So I know I need to finish my eyebrow there. So
I hope if you're doing eyebrows, you are familiar with the golden ratio, because obviously it's one of the key ways of measuring the eyebrow.
So then I would continue preserving as much hair as possible here. Yes, bearing in mind that I want my peak to be here, and it's not really so visible on the natural brow here that we pretend to have. It's also important that you ask your client what they like about their brows. Not everybody likes high arches. If they do, then you need to try to take this higher, and of course this relatively higher also. How wide do people like the eyebrows?
Yeah, that of course you'll get from the consultation.
Yes, so once we have that, then you can show the rough idea to your client. You can explain that the beginning will be a little bit softer, and you decide what to do next. Yes, if the client says, oh, I wish they were a little bit longer, of course you have space on the client's face, you could do that. If they want them tiny bit closer, they can come a little bit closer, but not any closer than one. If a client wishes for them to be thicker, you can try to achieve that by perhaps bringing the lower part down even a bit more, and maybe adding a little bit more at the top here. If a client wants more arch, usually we will do that by adding more here and removing from there.
Okay, so you're sort of tilting the eyebrow.
So you're tilting it a little bit more, so you're working with your angles. It's not merely just adding a funny peak in here, because that would distort the proportions of the brow. You need to notice that eyebrows, the widest part of the brow is the beginning, and gradually, slowly, it becomes thinner towards the end. Yes?
Yeah, of course, that's one of the key points.
Okay. So once the eyebrow is done, and if you showed it to the client and they are happy, of course the ruler helps you to create the other one symmetrical.
So, but I guess at this point, you would also you would sit them up.
Well, I would sit them up once they have both eyebrows on.
Oh,
First,
okay.
I ask with one if they even like it.
Right. Yeah.
Because you get ideas from your clients. Sometimes you spend too much time, and that's what a lot of people do. They spend too much time drawing what they think is amazing, and the client doesn't actually like it. So
Okay, so it's better to draw a shape, check with your client, and then correct it accordingly before even starting to draw the second one.
yes. So again, you can mark your points, beginning, arch, and the end basically finishes at the end of my thick skin. Not really, it finishes at number 7, so this one needs to finish here.
Alrighty.
Because it didn't stick well, and my line in the middle was a little bit off center. So I would start my base here as I started the other one, 1.5, and you need to really see what's happening. So also almost see the shape that you created below the brow.
And often I can see you sort of connecting the lines with the other eyebrow.
So lines, lines, and slowly starts to go down. And we got the end.
Righty.
And then the thickness, if you want, again, you can draw lines here to just make sure you start at more or less the same point, and the thickness that can be fixed later also if you're not quite sure at the beginning how to do it.
Lovely. Just a second to obviously say thank you very much for everybody joining us Sunday evening in London to watch this video. And Monica is just working on pre-drawing, achieving great pre-drawing, and how to use the measuring tape and how to achieve a good front brow.
Okay, so now we have our basic pre-drawing. Before we set the client up, we will more or less be checking whether the eyebrows are at the same levels. Yeah, so by scrolling this up from the base, I move it at the same speed up. I need to ensure that I have the same areas of the eyebrows exposed. Yeah, so I keep on going up. And it feels like one eyebrow disappeared already, and the other one is still a little bit visible.
Okay, so this is how you see.
So that means this one is just a little bit higher here.
But I guess you would then decide with the client, right? You would check.
You could ask them which one, absolutely, which one they like a little bit more, but yes.
But here we're just,
if let's say they like this one, then you just take it a little bit lower here.
Yeah, we're very lucky with our model today. She doesn't talk. She likes any eyebrows Monica makes.
Totally.
That's our everlasting fake skin.
So let's just start again from the top.
Okay.
Keep going down. Yes, and it feels like I need to just add a little bit more here. So I could just make a thicker line, making sure I go to the bottom of it.
So if you make a mistake, let's say a major mistake, how do you clean the pre-drawing before actually...
If you made a major mistake, then just take the prep pads, open them and wipe everything off and start again, because sometimes you might create a design for your client that she really doesn't like, or something that you thought initially would work but it's not really working in practice. I do it sometimes. If I do one eyebrow and I don't like it, I try to do a different design on the other brow and just see what works better for the client, and the one that clearly doesn't work, instead of fixing it, I just take it all off.
Yeah, sometimes it's quicker.
Okay, so pre-drawing done. If the client sits up, and again she's really standing straight or sitting straight, you check the symmetry, as sometimes, you know, facial muscles don't work properly, so then you might need to adjust your eyebrow accordingly. Once you do that and it's all good, then again you can lay the client down and you can start. So just very quickly, I'll show you the beginning how I like to do it, and what a lot of people ask for, how to make natural looking brows. I noticed some of you just really want to mark from the bottom to the top, and you do that a little bit too much. If you look at natural eyebrows, people's natural eyebrows, they grow in layers. There's really so many different hairs there, and especially at the beginning you have some longer ones, some shorter ones, and that's the beauty of the eyebrows. That's why they look more natural. There's variety. So there's a little rule of 3 little sisters and 2 little brothers, and then you can do what you want, but make sure the beginning is good.
Yes, exactly, because I've seen this in some of your work, and also quite a few of you message me asking, well, how do we get that perfect front? Because often what happens is you're just placing the lines all straight up, and there's really no structure to them. So Monica is just going to start and show us how she does the front to make sure that it's perfect every time.
Okay, So once we've decided what we're doing for that client and what kind of shape and what front she likes, I like to start with like really 3. I hope this will be visible. 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 little sisters.
Okay.
Of course, they can be done at a different angle if necessary. If the eyebrow needs to be rounded, then you work slightly differently.
But I guess the point here is that they start at different points.
Yes, they start at different points and that they sort of shorter. Yeah, so the beginning is softer. So you have your 3 little sisters, then you start a little bit longer strokes. So 1 and 2 little brothers.
And because they're longer, there's just 2, not 3. Okay, right.
And then again, at this point, you can maybe start to angle them even a little bit more to the side. So whether you do 2 or 3 here, that's fine because you have again longer, because the angle creates a longer line than just from top to the bottom. And you continue with your skeleton. Some of you struggle to do the same thing on the other side. But really, it's easy as you treat this line as a mirror. And the same thing needs to happen at the bottom. So at the beginning, when you're really the very beginner, you notice that the first stroke starts at the very bottom and goes just a little bit onto the contour line. So first.
Okay, so here, how do you say yourself once again?
You imagine this is a mirror and this is your mirror image.
Okay, so if here you were sort of more from the front.
So you work from the most outside of the brow. So the outside, the most outside part, the closest to the nose, starts on the bottom line and goes maybe halfway through. So I repeated that here. Okay. Not sure if there's enough pigment you can see,
so that's
but
sister number 1.
And then sister number 2 starts to the outside, or maybe like towards the outer corner of the eyes of the sister 1, and like halfway there. Yeah, so you do then sister 2. And then finally sister 3, a little bit higher here. Yes.
Okay, so that's 3 sisters.
And then again you continue with your 2 brothers. And then you do what you need to do later. What's most important, that whatever you do later, if you have the same amount of stroke or different amounts of strokes, it's not so visible. But if your beginning is different, that can be quite visible. I know some of you do maybe 1, 2, 3 on one eyebrow, and on the other one, for some reason, you decide to do
1 long one.
And that's to me, it's quite visible that they are different.
So there's no symmetry. So obviously we're trying to achieve symmetry. That's the reason why we're using the measuring tape to measure the brows. And that's the reason why we use the same technique we used on the right brow, on the left brow also.
Totally.
Okay.
Because it will look different. It almost looks like a different shape.
Yeah, one looks straight and the other one looks more rounded. Righty. So it's very essential basically that you use the same starting point.
And even if someone wants more of a straighter brow, I'm working with a bigger blade here, so you can try to make still quite a straight line, but divide it into smaller pieces. Yeah, so it's a straighter beginning.
Yeah, it's not just one line going straight up.
It's almost like one line being divided into smaller ones. And if you look at it, this one is more rounded altogether, and this one is really more straighter. So that will create more straighter beginning, that one a little bit softer. And in the end, my eyebrow here, it's even softer than that. It's even more angled.
But I think it's really a safe way of starting the brow. Just think of the 3 sisters, then the 2 brothers, and then after that curving the brow more and following through with your skeleton.
Yes, and if at any point you feel like, okay, I've done my 3 little sisters, but maybe the client now wishes to have the eyebrow a little bit more fuller here at the top, you can just start adding smaller ones if you need, or if she wants more rounded brow here. Yes, it's really is safer to start like that instead of having an eyebrow that's too boxy or too close, and then you can't really fix it so easily.
Okay. Well, this makes a lot of sense to me. I hope it also makes a lot of sense to you guys, because although we had a lot of viewers today, you have been a little bit quiet. I don't know whether it's because of my blocked nose. Maybe you didn't understand half of it.
Or maybe they were just really focused. Could be.
Yes, but nevertheless, I think this has been really great, and people can watch back over and over. But here you are, so achieving good pre-drawing, using the measuring tape, and how to start off the brow. So there's a lot of love and a lot of likes to you, Monica.
Thank you.
Send us some kisses.
I actually left my guest downstairs who came for dinner because I'm a workaholic and needed to make this video for you.
Exactly, so now we're going to be going back to dinner. And thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Much love.
Thank you for watching. Send us more questions, whatever you need to learn or you would like to see next. We're happy to oblige.
Yes, because remember, we are going to be going live every weekend. Of course, unless there's a hugest emergency. Other than that, we'll be live. So any questions, anything you'd like to see, message us, because a lot of you do. And if you didn't know yet, then you can message us. And for now, we're tuning out. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Bye.